Hi, I'm Jeff Dixon, and we are going on an egg hunt. I'm glad you're joining us for this limited series on the Church at 434 in Motion. We're recording it around Easter time. We're doing a series at the Church at 434 called Cracking the Extraordinary, where what we're doing is we're going back and we're looking at the Easter story and the events around Easter with a fresh set of eyes. And we're finding what we're calling Easter eggs, which are those kind of hidden things that happen in plain sight. But when you find them, it somehow enhances or makes you look deeper at the story and brings you a bit of joy and understanding and really just kind of helps you see things a little bit differently. And so what we're going to do in this series is go back and review some of the Easter eggs that we've been discovering during the teaching series. If you want to hear the teaching series or watch it, you can just go to the website. It's there, Cracking the Extraordinary. But for this episode and the ones that follow, we're specifically going to look maybe with a little bit more depth or a little bit more explanation, or a little less, we'll see, of the Easter eggs that we're finding in the series. The first one comes out of John chapter 18. I want to read verse 2. It says, "Now Judas, who betrayed him, knew the place, because Jesus had often met there with his disciples. So Judas came to the garden, guiding a detachment of soldiers and some officials from the chief priests and the Pharisees, and they are carrying torches, lanterns, and weapons." The first Easter egg that we find in the story is this, something that you may or may not know about the Easter saga. As they came to arrest Jesus, they did so in the place called the Garden of Gethsemane. Today, if you were to go over to Israel, the Church of All Nations is a well-known stop for tourists in the Holy Land. It is a church that is constructed in the Garden of Gethsemane, and inside that church there is a rock. The rock is historically the rock where it's believed that Jesus prayed that night, where he would sweat blood. Over the years, prior to it being protected, tourists would come and take a holy relic. They would chip away a piece of the rock. And so today that rock isn't quite as big, or the pieces aren't all there intact as it used to be, but now it's protected. Most people see that as part of their Holy Land tour. What many people miss is that if you were to go away from that just a little bit and follow a long, narrow, rock-lined passageway, it takes you to a cave. That cave, you step down a few steps and enter into, is known as the Gethsemane Grotto. What that is a place that historically it's believed that Jesus and the disciples would meet as they went to the Garden of Gethsemane. So when you come back and you hear the verses that we just read, it says, Judas, who betrayed him, knew the place because Jesus had often met there with his disciples. For me, I got hung up on the place, and I asked the question, where's the place? Realistically, the place is the same one that Jesus would have gone to time and time and time again, which would have been the Grotto in Gethsemane. Today, that grotto is a place where you can go and you can walk inside. You can actually worship a little bit. There are some paintings on the wall that depict some scenes out of the life of Jesus. It's very rustic, but it is a place where if you know what you're looking for, you can find it and experience the Easter story just a little bit bigger, because it answers the question, what is this place? It's in Scripture. I used to have this mental image of people just hanging out in a garden somewhere. But apparently that's not what was going on at all. And so when you understand the place, then you now have the setting for what transpired as they came to arrest Jesus, all of the events that happened, all the dialogue that took place, all of the reactions and actions that were put into motion in that moment, all of them happened starting in the place. And so that's the first Easter egg of the series. The Gethsemane Grotto, the place talked about in John chapter 18, just outside the Garden of Gethsemane. Now, we'll keep tracking some extraordinary things as we look at the rest of the story, but that's the first one. So file that one, put it somewhere in a basket where you can keep it, and I look forward to joining you next time.